Bloomberg Quint's continuing coverage of a dramatic day of election results from Karnataka. I'm Kaushik Vaidya.
And I'm Tamanna Inamdar. The BJP has emerged as the single largest party in Karnataka. They're leading in 104 seats, which is 9 seats below the halfway mark of 113. The Congress is leading in 78, while the JDS is leading in 37 seats, which means the math does not add up for the BJP. The Congress has offered support to the JDS to form the government to keep the BJP at bay, and that is where the story stands as of now. So what next for Karnataka, and what do you think about the Karnataka elections and all the political action we've seen today? Do write into us. All your comments and questions on the Karnataka polls will be featured in this show. You can reach out to us on Facebook, Twitter and YouTube.
Also joining us to make sense of this political potboiler and to give the viewer a better sense of what's happening over these next few hours and perhaps a day or two are senior advocates Sanjay Hegde and Adema Sundaram. Also with us will be Sanjay Pugale, editorial director of Quintillion Media. Tamanna?
All right, let's begin now with the key question of what happens next. I'm going to start with Sanjay Hegde. A lot of back and forth has been going on after the Congress has announced that it will support the JDS and try and form the next government over what the next legal move is and whether the governor is compelled to first invite the single largest party, which in this case is the BJP.
See, the next move is obviously for the governor to take a call on deciding which party or which combination of parties is in position to form a stable government and to command a majority in the legislature. Now, the point is that the single largest party is the normal rule, but there are always exceptions to the rule. You must remember that way back in the 90s, President Shankar Dayal Sharma invited the single largest party, which was the BJP, under Mr. Vajpayee, to form the government. But that single largest party was though it faced a motion of confidence, was unable to secure the confidence of Parliament. It failed, and then a coalition came into being. The question is there a necessity at all times to go through this, invite the single largest party, wait for it to fall, and thereafter invite somebody else if required? To my mind, the answer is not always. You could have, here you have a case where there is a single largest party at 104, you have an alliance which is clearly in the majority at 116.
Okay. In
these circumstances, to say that the single largest party of 104 would necessarily command the majority or the confidence of the House, to my mind, is a bit of a stretch. Of course, if the governor does it, there is nothing to stop him from doing it. But I don't think constitutional scholars or historians will look at that very kindly. But governors don't necessarily look to the judgments of history or constitutional scholars. They also go by their own feel of the situation.
Let's take Mr. Hegde's points that he just made a little further. We have Murli, a viewer, writing in on Twitter. What are the legal ways that could be taken here? Adema Sundaram, could you give us some detail about the 2005 Rameshwar Prasad Union of India Supreme Court ruling, which after that 97 precedent with President Narayanan that Sanjay Hegde just mentioned, after that particular case became the rule, so to speak, of what happened in such a situation? Could you give our viewers and us a little more detail on that?
Well, I think to answer your question, you've got to ask yourself a primary basic issue or question. And that is, what is the constitutional mandate? What is the constitutional intention? Look at it this way. The constitutional intention, clear intent, and the mandate is that the leader of the House will be one who commands a majority of the House. That is number one. Number two, essential to any democracy is that there is a government in place as soon as possible. An elected government should be in place because that is paramount to a democracy. Now, these are the two basic constitutional mandates. And this is the governor's duty to ensure. In order to do it, you may have any number of guidelines laid down. The judgments you just spoke about is a guideline. What does the judgment really say? If it's an area of uncertainty,
Right.
then the way, and you're not satisfied that anybody has the majority, and you're not sure who has the majority, then follow a checklist. Go first to a pre-election alliance, because that's a certain alliance. You're quite sure that they are together. See whether they can command a majority. If that doesn't fail, next step. If that fails, then the next step. Go to the single largest party and say, look here, can you get people with you to support you, and you form the majority? If that fails, then you go to the next step, which says, all right, are a group of you able to get together and form the government and form a stable government where all of you can together govern? Now, that's a series which is given as guidelines. But that is not writ in stone. The basic issue is the governor satisfies himself who commands the majority of the House, question number one, and as soon as possible is how it should be done to ensure an elected government is in place. Now, take this instant case. I think this is a great pointer as to how sometimes we lose the woods for the trees, and we go on these little guidelines which have been given to ensure that something happens when otherwise it appears clear. Now, this is a state where there are three parties which have got an ascertained number of seats. It's not like you have 8 or 9 fragmented seats. There are only 2 independents who in this case would become quite irrelevant in the numbers. So in which case, you have 3 parties. Now, not one of them has a majority on his own. 2 of them come together and say, we are now together, we have the majority. If the governor is satisfied that the 2 are together, and the numbers of the 2 together is the majority, I see nothing wrong, and in fact, I feel that that will really be subserving the basic constitutional mandate for the governor to then call upon both of them to form the government. Otherwise, what are you doing? You have here a very clear issue. On one side, you have one party, which may be the single largest, but does not have a majority.
Right.
On the other side, you have 2, which together have the majority and come to you and say, look, both of us are together. And we've agreed also on our common leader.
So I want to get into the detail of...
If that is the situation, I believe it's the duty of the governor. It's the duty of the governor
Right.
to give them the opportunity to form the government.
I want to get into the
ensure that
detail of
government-
those particular numbers in just a bit. But again, just to stretch on this point to what legal process follows, we have another viewer writing in, is there possibility of a re-election in the state? Try to understand first the fact that the governor, Mr. Hegde, tries to first try and give any party or combination of parties some sort of attempt to form a government. If that doesn't happen, you could have, if that fails, then president rule happens. Tell us how rare it might be for consecutive polls to follow if no parties or a group of parties are able to form a government.
See, a party or a group of parties can form a government when the governor invites them to form the government. The question is whether they can command a majority in the House. If they do not command a majority in the House, and the House then does not throw up an alternative government, it's only then that the governor can make a report to the president that the government cannot be carried out in accordance with the constitution, and hence recommend president's rule. That part of the game is a bit far off. To my mind, it is impossible that you cannot have an elected government in Karnataka even with these results. These are still leads. They may become results, or it may be that there might be a change here and there. If as a result of any final changes, there is any party or alliance which has a better chance of making a government, the governor should naturally call that. But let's assume that it is this 104 to 116 with 3 more by-elections to come. Normally, a governor who chooses to go with 104 as opposed to 116 might have some explaining to do if the 116 stay together. And that is the very big if. You must remember that Karnataka has been very innovative in dealing with the constitution. Karnataka politicians, I mean, In 2008, we had what was called Operation Kamala. The 2008, the BJP had 110 seats, but was just short of a majority. What happened was that people who were elected on the Janata Dal and Congress tickets were persuaded to resign. Therefore, the required numbers for a majority in the House came down. Mr. Yediyurappa was sworn in. Those people who were persuaded to resign then got re-elected in by-elections as BJP legislators. And that's how a majority was cobbled together, notwithstanding the fact that the anti-defection laws, the anti-defection portion of the constitution requires a two-thirds majority of the party to walk out. You are not going to have wholesale walking out in this situation. But I certainly see innovative methods being used for retail defections.
Retail defections, very interesting terms we're hearing during this election coverage today. I want to welcome Sanjay Pugalia, editorial director of The Quint, into this conversation, and also read out all the viewer queries, comments and questions which have come in. We urge all of you to tell us what you think of what is happening today. Very exciting day for politics. One question from Vivek Kumar, and there you can see it on our screen there, which says, which party would have spent more on the elections? Now, honestly, Vivek, that's not a question any of us can answer at this point. But let me field that sticky question to Sanjay. When Mr. Hegde speaks of retail, elections, in that sense, a lot more is to come, perhaps?
Sorry, I will pick up from Mr. Hegde's point. This is what I am trying to kind of explain, that it is very fluid. We do not know what final numbers will be. In that case, it is very difficult to assume that BJP will not have a majority or a near majority number where governor has justification to call BJP. In that case, is he going to call the post-poll alliance? It is totally his discretion. He may choose not to call. Whoever he calls first, in this case most likely BJP, will have an upper hand. And as he rightly said, what happens if some MLAs suddenly resign and your majority mark comes down to 104, 105, 106, whatever BJP gets the number as? So in that case, what will happen? And these are absolutely possible tricks. It is real politics. So if you are thinking of constitutional propriety, keep that discussion aside. You will see a fierce battle to make sure that who gets the invitation. BJP is most likely to get the invitation. Only if BJP comes down to say 98, 99, 100, and then you have clear 120 on the other side, then it will be a tough choice for governor. But then wait for some more innovative and creative ideas from BJP.
So the cutoff in that sense, the mental mark which you're talking about, Sanjay, is about 100. What if we see, and here I want to come to Arima Sundaram, on what if we see, because we have a precedent in Goa and in Manipur, where the single largest party was the Congress, but the BJP managed to get everyone else together. Do you see a situation where the BJP, doesn't push this any further, or is this a clear fight that we're going to see coming up ahead in the hours to come?
Look, I think so far as fights are concerned, I don't think the BJP is willing to let anything go without a fight. All that's happened in Karnataka now is that the Congress and the JDS have obviously out-BJP'd the BJP. I say that because of what the BJP did in Goa. They've done the Goa to the BJP in Karnataka. But the point I really want to make to you is that what came from both Sanjay Hegde and your director are two things, which is exactly what worries me. When I talked about the basic tenets, the basic mandate of the Constitution, to ensure that the governor got the person who has the commands, the majority of the House, be sworn in so that there is a stable elected government, and ensures that there's an elected government as soon as possible. There is a third unwritten mandate, and I think we shouldn't lose sight of that. And that is to prevent horse trading, which is basically, you may not call it technically by the use of the word a corrupt practice, but it's a corruption in the democratic electoral process, horse trading. That's why the anti-defection law also came in. Now look at the situation, what we're talking about, what both your earlier panelists have also said. What they've said is that if it is delayed a bit and the BJP is given time, the BJP may be able to get over some of these people. What are we talking about? Buying over some people, persuading some people? basically, using a very common parlance, you're giving an opportunity for horse trading. Now, I don't think the governor should say, look here, you are the largest party. I will give you enough time for you to horse trade and pull people out of two other parties. See, it's a different matter entirely. Let's say that there were 10 independents. And the BJP said, look, I can, if I get those independents to support me, to then form a government and be the majority. But here you have two parties. And that's why I said in this case the two independent votes are immaterial, because in the numbers it doesn't really matter. Here are two parties, and the parties are together today. Now, if you are saying, give the majority party, give the major party, the party which has got the most seats, the chance first, so that they will have a chance to woo away and get some more people with them. What are you basically saying? That they get some of those people out of their parties, out of their party fold, to actually come over to them, which is exactly what is horse trading all about. Now, it's a constitutional mandate, according to me, for a governor to ensure that he does not create a situation where there will be such horse trading. And from what your earlier panelists have said, by giving the chance to the BJP first, you're basically encouraging them to try to woo away some congressmen onto their side, to woo away some JDS people onto their side, which is exactly what the anti-defection law is all about. And as Sanjay Hegde said, there are unique ways to circumvent it by saying, all right, woo them away, they lose their seats, have a by-election, bring them in. It's another form of the same thing, horse trading. You woo them away, you buy them away, you do whatever else it is. So according to me, to ensure that all that does not happen, if the governor has satisfied these two parties, and I again go into saying there are two parties together, have the numbers, he should call on them to form the government and not give an opportunity of having the major party, whatsoever may be his own personal political compulsions, to give that party a chance to then get into horse trading.
Sanjay?
That's exactly what you need to avoid, which is why as soon as possible you must have an elected government in place.
Right. Sanjay Hegde, just a short while back, you brought up the question of the three particular re-elections or three elections that are left. You have two that didn't go into polling because of two different reasons, and perhaps you have one re-election from whichever seat Mr. Kumaraswamy decides to step down on. Hypothetically, if the governor were to say, let me wait till all 224 are in and then assess, would that be something the Congress and the JDS would want to perhaps go to court about?
See, by-elections are not within the governor's purview. The normal election process takes at least a month or so. It is not that the governor can keep an elected government from taking office for that long. That kind of decision I don't think will find favor with the courts if it is challenged. I do not expect the governor to do that. The governor has to normally keep the Raj Bhavan free from politics. He should, in one sense, be a fair and neutral umpire and say, do all your politics, do all your confidence building on the floor of the assembly. Please, I'll call you to form a government. I think it's reasonably certain that you might have the majority in the assembly, but prove it to me as soon as possible. Under no circumstances would I recommend to the governor, if my advice was sought, that he call somebody to form a government and then gives him 3 or 4 weeks to prove a majority. That is a time when a lot of trading takes place. I do not like the phrase horse trading, because horses are much better animals than most of our politicians. I would just say politician trading should not be encouraged, especially by holders of constitutional office like the governor. Okay. Swear whoever you think has a better chance of proving a majority, and ask them to prove it as soon as possible on the floor of the House.
Okay, so the final fight is on the floor of the House. The numbers, as gentlemen you have been speaking about, are still finally trickling in, but it seems clear that the BJP will be in a position to try and cobble up support to reach that halfway mark. How they will do it is another question. Let's look at what some of our viewers are saying. Nikunj Panchal writes in on Twitter saying that will the next government to be made with the help of JDS in Karnataka possibly. That is what the Congress
let me take
wants.
that further. That's sort of perhaps stating the obvious if that's who's called in next. But I'm going to redirect that as a question to Sanjay Pugalia. How, in a matter of 6 hours, did a party that for the last 2 weeks was being seen as kingmaker suddenly turn into being king?
Yeah, so it is all dictated by numbers, and the other point I want to make is that I am quite surprised with Mr. Deve Gowda and Mr. Kumaraswamy's response to this emerging situation where they fought with Congress party, but they are willing to work together. Maybe he realizes that with aligning with BJP is not a great idea for him. But here I have a question. How long he will be able to sustain the pressure, Mr. Deve Gowda, the pressure and the temptation that will come from ruling establishment from Delhi. It will be about, okay, you want to be chief minister in Karnataka, we can't offer you that, but can we give you 2 cabinet rank ministries in Delhi? And what about your other expectation? And we will fulfill all of that. And then, you know, what kind of ruthlessness current political ecosystem has, they will offer or threat or whatever. So they can do several things to make sure that Mr. Deve Gowda is dissuaded to take this route. As of now, he has taken a position. He is a veteran politician. He has been an ex-prime minister. So I think he has taken a long-term bet, because if he goes with BJP, then as a small little party, he is finished. And he has seen what has happened with Chandrababu Naidu. There are stories about Mayawati calling him and asking him to firmly stand with Congress party and form the government under the leadership of Kumaraswamy. So I think everything is today hinging on Mr. Deve Gowda. If he is able to keep his flock together, Congress is able to keep its flock together, and they are willing to, or they are in a position to parade 116 odd MLAs if the number is valid till the final count, then there is a different situation. All these 2 big constitutional experts are saying absolutely right thing, that this is what governors should do. But the question is, who is the governor, from which party he belongs to? Will he treat himself as a constitutional authority or as a party worker? That is the question, and we know the answer.
You know, Girish has also written in with that question, hope the governor takes a fair step in the assembly. One thing doing the rounds on Twitter right now, not surprisingly, is an earlier quote from Arun Jaitley after Goa and Manipur, talking about the Bommai judgment. He's quoting the Bommai judgment, and he says in the context of Goa and Manipur, that the governor is well within his rights to call the largest coalition. I want to get a view from both our legal experts Sanjay Hegde and Arima Sundaram on what they think about the entire story in the context of the Bommai judgment. Let's start with Sanjay Hegde.
See, the Bommai judgment basically says that everything has to be decided on the floor of the assembly. The Bommai judgment also says that you should make a reasonable objective assessment as to who is likely to command the majority in the assembly. The Bommai judgment is not a carte blanche for the governor to invite somebody and then say, now you cobble up a majority. Having said all these things on the law, I just wanted to put to your viewers 2 personal things as the only Kannadiga on the panel. The first thing that you must remember as far as the Karnataka situation is concerned is that Deve Gowda can't get along with the Reddy brothers. He will do a lot of things to see that the Reddy brothers don't get another chance at the mines in Karnataka. That's point 1. Point 2, you must also realize is that Siddaramaiah was with the Janata Dal S much before he came to the Congress. He has worked with Deve Gowda. So the 2 of them may be acting back in tandem, and that's where the story should be going.
Siddaramaiah, in fact, gave away the first clue, which people didn't fully read into. When before the results were declared, he said he would step away from the CM seat even if he won, even if the Congress won, in case there was a more worthy candidate. Maybe he had an inkling of things to come. But just a quick view from Arima Sundaram on that legal question, because everyone is quoting the Bommai judgment today. What is your view on how pertinent that judgment is in today's case?
See, let's take what the Bombay judgment actually said. What Sanjay Hegde has given you is quite right. That's what the Bombay judgment said. But again, look at the underlying issue in the Bombay judgment. The underlying issue is that if there is uncertainty, it can only be decided on the floor of the House. For example, let's say the BJP got a majority, a clear majority. There's no uncertainty. There's no question of proving it on the floor of the House. Anyone has a doubt in the government, they bring in a motion of no confidence at any stage. It's not for the government to bring it in. What Bombay said is, whenever there's a realm of uncertainty, it is best to test it on the floor of the House. The operative word is uncertainty. Now, you have to take this in a fact situation in each case. In this particular case, as on today, there is no uncertainty between these two parties having A, the numbers, and B, saying we're going to go together. If they fall out 6 months from today, 1 year from today, they may fall out, they may not fall out. That is another political hazard which will be seen at some stage or the other. But that is not to say that today, as far as the governor sees it, that he needs first to be approved in the House before allowing a government to take charge. If he wants, of course, he can say, look, I will allow you people to form the government, but I want you to have a vote of confidence in the next 13 days. And that is not so that you can go and muzzle up enough support to get people onto your side, but basically to see that both of you are really together and you're going to stay together and be 13 days from today, be together and form the government. So let's not take again the Bombay judgment.
So sorry,
I'll
just have to interrupt you there because the Congress is addressing a press conference as Randeep Singh Surjewala, the chief spokesperson. Let's listen in.
राज्यपाल के पास संविधान के अनुरूप और कोई चारा नहीं, बजाय उस कोएलिशन को सरकार बनाने के लिए निमंत्रण देने के। और इसलिए हम ये अपेक्षा करते हैं कि जनता दल सेकुलर और कांग्रेस पार्टी के इस कोएलिशन सरकार को गठन के लिए संविधान और कानून की परिपाटी के अनुरूप, पूर्व में जो प्रेसिडेंट्स हैं उनके अनुरूप, सुप्रीम कोर्ट के निर्णयों के अनुरूप बहुत जल्द महामहिम राज्यपाल सरकार बनाने के लिए आमंत्रित करेंगे। इस बारे में आपके और देश के संज्ञान में फिर भी हम 3 तथ्य लेकर आना चाहते हैं। सबसे पहले, पोस्ट पोल कोएलिशन में क्लियर मेजॉरिटी के राजनीतिक दल को सरकार के गठन के लिए बुलाया जाएगा। इसके कई स्पष्ट उदाहरण हैं हाल में ही। गोवा में मार्च 2017 में 40 की विधानसभा में कांग्रेस को लार्जेस्ट पार्टी के तौर पर कांग्रेस इमर्ज हुई, 17 विधायक जीतकर 18 स्टैंड कर। बीजेपी के पास केवल 12 विधायक थे। बाद में एक विधायक स्विच कर गया, इसलिए वो संख्या 13 हो गई। परंतु भारतीय जनता पार्टी के कोएलिशन को, जो पोस्ट पोल कोएलिशन था, गवर्नर ने उस समय इनवाइट किया सरकार बनाने के लिए और मनोहर पार्रिकर जी के नेतृत्व में भाजपा की सरकार बनी। बाकायदा गवर्नर ने यह भी बताया कि उन्होंने इस बारे में कानूनविदों और भिन्न भिन्न कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल एक्सपर्ट से राय ली थी, जिनमें अरुण जेटली जी भी शामिल थे। मार्च 2017 में मणिपुर में इसी प्रकार से 60 की असेंबली में कांग्रेस के 28 विधायक जीतकर आए, भारतीय जनता पार्टी के 21 विधायक जीतकर आए। पर इसके बावजूद गवर्नर ने पोस्ट पोल कोएलिशन के आधार पर भारतीय जनता पार्टी की पोस्ट पोल कोएलिशन को सरकार बनाने के लिए आमंत्रित किया और वहां भाजपा की सरकार का गठन हुआ। मार्च 2018 में मेघालय में 60 की असेंबली में कांग्रेस के 21 विधायक जीतकर आए, भाजपा के मात्र 2 विधायक जीतकर आए। परंतु पोस्ट पोल कोएलिशन के आधार पर भारतीय जनता पार्टी और उसके मित्र दलों को सरकार बनाने के लिए गवर्नर द्वारा आमंत्रित किया गया और सिंगल लार्जेस्ट पार्टी कांग्रेस को नहीं। बात केवल यहां भी समाप्त नहीं होती। गोवा में जब भारतीय जनता पार्टी की पोस्ट पोल कोएलिशन को आमंत्रित किया गया तो इसको बाकायदा चुनौती दी गई कांग्रेस के साथियों के द्वारा, इस आधार पर कि एसआर बोमई केस में सिंगल लार्जेस्ट पार्टी को निमंत्रण दिया जाना चाहिए था। जो लाइव रिपोर्टिंग हुई, अब उसका रिकॉर्ड उपलब्ध है, मैं आपको कुछ लाइनें पढ़कर सुनाऊंगा और उसकी एक प्रतिलिपि आपको दे रहा हूं। And it says, the arguments before the bench of Chief Justice of India, Justice J.S. Keher, Justice Ranjan Gogoi, and Justice R.K. Agarwal began at 10:30 a.m. and lasted till 12:15. CJI, it is clear from our Arunachal Pradesh judgment that governor has a discretion in situations like this. मुख्य न्यायाधीश उस अपने अरुणाचल प्रदेश के निर्णय का हवाला दे रहे हैं और कह रहे हैं कि उसके मुताबिक गवर्नर को यह डिस्क्रिशन है कि वो पोस्ट पोल कोएलिशन को बुलाएं। जस्टिस गोगई टू अभिषेक मनु सिंघवी, यू डिड नॉट डेमोन्स्ट्रेट टू द गवर्नर दैट यू हैव द नंबर्स। कन्वेंशन ऑफ इनवाइटिंग सिंगल लार्जेस्ट पार्टी इज सब्जेक्ट टू नंबर्स। देन CJI, there is no question of more stable government. If one has the numbers, others don't, only one can provide the stable government. यानी जिसके पास पोस्ट पोल कोएलिशन में संख्या है वही सरकार बनाएगा। हरीश साल्वे जी जो अब सेलेक्टेड, our 21 MLAs are with us. If government falls, only then immediate floor test is necessary. और जो सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने निर्णय किया उसके पैरा 3 में उन्होंने ये स्पष्ट कर दिया कि अगर पोस्ट पोल कोएलिशन के पास क्लियर नंबर्स हैं तो वो सही है। एंड आई कोट, it is not a matter of dispute that the result of the electoral process in the state of Goa was declared on 11th March 2017. The said assembly comprises of 40 elected members. The party having support of at least 21 elected members would obviously have majority. Annexure B reveals that besides the 13 elected members from the BJP legislative party, 3 members from the Maharashtravadi Gomtak party and another 3 members from the Goa Forward Party have expressed their support to the BJP legislature party. Besides the above, 2 elected independent members have also been mentioned in the letter of the governor Annexure B as having expressed their allegiance to the BJP legislature party. It is therefore that the BJP legislature party is shown to have the support of 21 MLAs. This is the Supreme Court for you, and this is the Supreme Court as early as on March 14, 2017. इसलिए एक बात स्पष्ट है कि अगर पोस्ट पोल कोएलिशन के पास मेजॉरिटी स्पष्ट तौर से है तो संविधान और कानून की परिपाटी केवल एक बात कहती है कि उस पोस्ट पोल कोएलिशन को सरकार बनाने के लिए निमंत्रण देने के अलावा कोई और संवैधानिक या कानूनी चारा नहीं। और वो सारे कानूनविद जो इस सरकार का हिस्सा भी हैं और इस सरकार के कॉन्शियस कीपर हैं, उन्होंने भी जो कहा था, मैं उसकी एक प्रतिलिपि भी दे रहा हूं इस सुप्रीम कोर्ट की जजमेंट के साथ साथ। 13/3/2017 को माननीय अरुण जेटली साहब ने, जो सरकार के कानूनी सलाहकार भी हैं और प्रधानमंत्री जी के, उन्होंने कहा इन ए हंग असेंबली इफ मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द इलेक्टेड MLAs support a coalition, the governor would be constitutionally bound in inviting the leader of the majority coalition to form the government. और यही नहीं, उन्होंने फिर एक मार्च 14, 2017 को गोवा में सरकार बनने के बारे में एक बाकायदा लेख लिखा, जिसे सब मीडिया हाउसेस ने, कई अंग्रेजी मीडिया हाउसेस ने तो बड़ा जोर शोर से चलाया और दिखाया। उसमें जो उन्होंने लिखा, मैं उसकी 4 लाइनें पढ़कर सुनाना चाहता हूं। उन्होंने लिखा the assembly elections in Goa produced an inconclusive verdict. There was a hung assembly. Obviously, in a hung assembly, post-poll alliances will be formed. The BJP managed to form an alliance and present it to the governor 21 out of 40 MLAs. In the face of claim of these 20 MLAs led by Mr. Manohar Parrikar, the governor could not have invited the minority of 17 MLAs to form the government. He is referring to the single largest Congress party. There are several precedents which support the decision of the governor. And then he quotes the example of Jharkhand, Jammu and Kashmir, Delhi, Madras, Rajasthan and Haryana. Then he also goes on to say, and I quote Shri Jaitley, the debate between the largest single party lacking majority versus a combination of parties constituting a majority was answered by the former President Shri K.R. Narayanan in his communique in March 1988 when he invited Shri Atal Bihari Vajpayee to form the government. 1998, actually it's a misprint here. I have the correct communique, and let me read from that. For a specific standard was laid down by the then President of India. And the then President of India said, where no party or pre-election alliance of parties is in a clear majority, the head of the state has in India or elsewhere given the first opportunity to the leader of the party or combination of party that has won the largest number of seats. In Karnataka, the combination of parties of JDS plus Congress plus one BSP plus one independent have clearly and unequivocally stated to the Honorable Governor that this is a post-poll coalition which has the requisite number of 117 as against the required number of 112. We request the Bharatiya Janata Party, they have not been given the mandate by the people of Karnataka to rule Karnataka. Actually, if you look at the real numbers, they tell an extremely interesting story. The Congress and JDS coalition has the support of over 56% of the total votes polled. If you further look at it, Bharatiya Janata Party's support has actually dwindled from 2014 in 2018. In 2014, BJP won 17 parliament seats in Karnataka, winning thereby 132 assembly segments in the process, and got 43% of the votes polled. 3 years down the line, 48 months down the line, BJP has been restricted from 17 to 12 parliament seats, 104 assembly segments where they have victory or leads, and their vote share has gone from 43% to 36%. That should also show the mirror of truth to BJP, which has been laying false claims of victory since this morning. All in all, one situation is extremely clear. The post-poll coalition of JDS plus Congress party plus one BSP plus one independent has a clear majority. In Karnataka Assembly of 117, Congress has extended support to JDS to form a government and have its own chief minister. This coalition with clear majority is constitutionally and legally bound to be invited to form the government. Bharatiya Janata Party, the Prime Minister and BJP President should no longer trample upon the democratic traditions and the constitutional obligations by surreptitiously and illegally attempting to trample upon the majority will of the people. Any questions you want to ask, you're welcome.
Why have you decided not to respect the mandate and go ahead and support the JDS? What does this mean for the Congress party? Does it mean that it's an indication also in 2019 that you are ready to sit in the opposition, support any government, any party from outside and give up the Prime Ministership also?
You asked two extremely important questions. Let me answer one by one. Firstly, no party, as I pointed out, in Karnataka has been given a clear mandate to form the government. Neither the Congress party, nor the Bharatiya Janata Party, nor the JDS. Nobody has the magic figure of 112. Naturally, in a hung assembly, any two parties who are amenable to working together for development of Karnataka and on a common agenda where they can find common meeting ground have to work together. Either the other option would have been presidential rule, which would have actually dishonored the clear-cut democratic process and mandate given to different parties by people of Karnataka. So in the interest of state of Karnataka, and in order to give a stable government, which is moving on the path of progress laid down in last 5 years by the Congress party led by Shri Siddaramaiah, we have decided to rise above any kind of personal political interest and form a coalition in order to provide a stable and a progressive government to people of Karnataka. Your second question relates to 2019 election. I will say that it is completely premature and hypothetical, and I don't think so we need to answer this at this juncture at all. Thank you.
Sir, in such a crucial situation, would you like to respect the wisdom of the government?
I think there is no discretion as per the established conventions, right from the time of laid down by none less than one of the most respected former presidents of India, President K.R. Narayanan. The three precedents of 2017 and 2018, based on which BJP formed governments in Goa, in Manipur and Meghalaya. The sixth precedent cited by Shri Arun Jaitley himself, where a post-poll coalition with clear-cut majority was invited to form the government. So the constitution and the letter of the law and the mandate of the constitution and its spirit is very clear. Governor can only decide in favor of a post-poll coalition which has a clear majority, and that presently is JDS and the Congress party. Ma'am. Ma'am, we expect the Honorable Governor to listen to the mandate of the Constitution and the letter of the law. However, all options will always remain open. Sir. आदरणीय साथी, संविधान और कानून की प्रकाष्ठा बिल्कुल स्पष्ट है कि अगर पोस्ट पोल कोएलिशन में दो राजनीतिक दलों का गठबंधन पूर्ण बहुमत दर्शाता है तो गवर्नर के पास और कोई चॉइस नहीं बजाय उस कोएलिशन को सरकार बनाने के लिए आमंत्रित करने के। मौजूदा कर्नाटक में स्थिति में कांग्रेस पार्टी, जेडीएस, बीएसपी का एक साथी और एक जो इंडिपेंडेंट साथी है, उनकी संख्या मिलकर 117 है, जबकि बहुमत की संख्या 112 है। हमें विश्वास है कि जिस प्रकार से पूर्व राष्ट्रपति के.आर. नारायणन जी द्वारा एक क्लियर प्रेसिडेंट वाजपेयी जी को जब आमंत्रित किया गया, ले डाउन किया गया है, उसके बाद मार्च 2017 में और मार्च 2018 में गोवा, मणिपुर और मेघालय में जहां भाजपा की सरकारें बनी, क्लियर प्रेसिडेंट ले डाउन किया गया है। साथ वो प्रेसिडेंट जो श्री अरुण जेटली द्वारा कोट किए गए हैं उनके लेख में, ऐसे में कोई और ऑप्शन नहीं बचती बजाय इसके कि जेडीएस और कांग्रेस की कोएलिशन सरकार को सरकार का गठन करने के लिए कर्नाटक में आमंत्रित किया जाए। हमें विश्वास है कि आदरणीय महामहिम महोदय संविधान की इस परिपाटी को, कानून की इस प्रकाष्ठा को और स्पष्ट प्रेसिडेंट्स जो ले डाउन किए गए हैं उनकी अनुपालना करेंगे, हमें इसमें कोई शक नहीं। हाँ, अगर कोई और निर्णय हुआ तो सभी ऑप्शंस हमेशा खुले रहेंगे।
आज नतीजों के दौरान कांग्रेस के कुछ नेताओं ने ईवीएम के पीछे सवाल उठाया। आप क्या ईवीएम पे आपका शक है या सब कुछ पूरा तरह ठीक हो गया?
मुझे लगता है कि आज सबसे महत्वपूर्ण विषय कर्नाटक में एक प्रोग्रेसिव सरकार के गठन का है और हम सब के सामने अर्जुन को जैसे मछली की आंख दिखती थी, उसी प्रकार से इमीडिएट लक्ष्य ये है कि कर्नाटक के कुरुक्षेत्र में धर्म और नीति की विजय हो और एक प्रोग्रेसिव सरकार जो है